Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Cult Movie Tuesdays right here on Night Owl Video. Today I am talking about this film, Frailty. Yes, from the year 2001. So we're going to be talking about cast, production, critical response, my thoughts on the film, where you can watch it, and all that jazz. So I hope you'll stick around. Thank you to everybody who has recently subscribed. I appreciate your support and welcome anyone new to the channel. And thank you for all the thumbs up and the likes and all that jazz. I see a lot of people didn't like Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I guess that wasn't a popular film. I do believe it was sort of a bit of a cult. Even though I did it for Fright Friday, I do believe it was more of a cult movie and not a lot of people saw it. But anyway, if you missed it last week, I did review Tucker and Dale versus Evil, the horror comedy. So if you like those kinds of things, go check it out. But today we're talking about Frailty from 2001. This is a horror mystery film. It was directed by Bill Paxton. Rest in peace, of course. He was in, I always think of him from Aliens with the, oh, that's just great, man. Now what are we going to do? You know, like, he was also in True Lies. I sort of forgot about his role in True Lies. He was such a sleazeball in that movie. He was also in this film, of course, and he was the director, producer, writer, and actor. Now, he did act and direct this film, but something that I didn't know, which I just discovered doing my research of this film, is that he was also the director, producer, writer, and actor in the music video Fish Heads by Barnes and Barnes. Now, for those of you who grew up in my time in the 70s and 80s, that video was on Much Music all the time here in Canada. I don't know about the States so much or overseas, but Fish Heads by Barnes and Barnes was sort of a staple on music video channel here in Canada in the 80s. And it's if you've never seen it, go check it out. It's quite a funny song and quite a funny video. And I didn't realize that Bill Paxton was involved in that. So that sort of even made Bill Paxton even cooler in my books. But yeah, go check out Fish Heads by Barnes and Barnes. It is on YouTube, and you can check it out over there. So this film stars Bill Paxton, as I mentioned, of course, from Aliens. I always think of him from Aliens, but I know he's been in a lot of other things. This film also stars Matthew McConaughey, who was on the cover there. He was in Dazed and Confused, Wolf of Wall Street, a whole bunch of... He's been in so many things. I'm not the biggest Matthew McConaughey fan. I did like him in this film, but he's not one of my favorite actors. He's growing on me, but very slowly. I did like him in the two movies I mentioned, though. And this movie also stars Powers Booth, rest in peace, who was in Sin City Part 1 and 2. He was the cop in this movie. I don't think he's on the cover, but he's really kind of a, I don't know, he kind of gives me the willies for some reason. I'm trying to remember in Sin City, he was like, he was one of the baddies in Sin City. And yeah, I don't know, he always just gave me the willies. And I haven't seen, I just watched this the other night. I hadn't seen this since it came out in 2001. On VHS, and I just rewatched this, and that was of course before Sin City came out. So when I started watching it, I was like, oh my god, that's the guy from Sin City. So it was kind of cool to see him in a different role, even though he was again kind of a heavy-handed character who was not really believing everything that Matthew McConaughey was saying. And I don't know, he just kind of gives me like the willies. I don't know why, but anyway, he did pass away. I don't remember what year, but a great actor. I'd actually like to kind of dig into his back catalog and see what other movies he was in, because I do like him. The synopsis for Frailty is: one day, a widowed blue-collar worker has a revelation. He must destroy those revealed to him as demons. He then begins the serial killings of God's Hand Killer across Texas. But he also has two young sons, the younger of whom idolizes him and believes in the cause, while his older brother is revolted but cannot bring himself to stop his father. 20 years later, the older son walks into a police station and confesses. Confesses to Powers Booth. So yeah, anyway, we'll dig into this movie. I have a lot of thoughts on this movie. Um, this film did mark Bill Paxton's directorial debut. At the time, Frailty marked Lionsgate's largest investment in an in-house production. So this was kind of a big deal when it was being created. When asked why the axe used by his character had the name Otis carved into the handle, Bill Paxton stated that he wanted the axe to have its own personality and to be unique. So in this film, the God's Hand killer, Bill Paxton, has these visions, and he's been told by God that, he has to kill these demons. And he has a list of people that he has to take care of that are supposedly demons. He also gets a vision that there's like 3 weapons that need to be used. Although I can only think of 2 right now, and that was the axe with the word Otis inscribed on it, as well as like a piece of piping. You can leave it in the comments what the 3rd one was. I'm pretty sure he had a vision that there were 3 weapons, but and these weapons were supposed to be like of like a magical power, imbued with a magical force that God had put into them. So I should have said that before I started this thought, but anyway, the axe had the word Otis inscribed on it. So Bill Paxton stated that he wanted the axe to have its own personality and to be unique. He found the name in Pasadena when he was there scouting for locations to film. Paxton met a homeless man and offered to give him some money. The homeless man did not want charity, so Paxton instead offered to buy the use of the man's name for the movie. The homeless man's name was Otis. So that's where that was. I thought that was kind of an interesting fact about this film that I did not know until doing my research. Bill Paxton used the same beer can through the entire filming of the movie because they could only find one Hamm's beer can like the one in 1979 that they used in the film. So throughout the film, you'll see Bill Paxton drinking a can of beer, and that can of beer was only one can being used over and over again. I think there is a scene where he cracks the can, and they just use like a sound effect or something to create that scene. This is loosely based on the American serial killer Joseph Callinger, who murdered 3 people and tortured 4 families. He committed these crimes with his 13-year-old son Michael between 1974 and 1975 in New Jersey. Callinger pleaded insanity, claiming God had told him to kill. So I was not familiar with that case before doing this research, but directors James Cameron, Sam Raimi, and author Stephen King all singled out Frailty for high praise. Stephen King considered it one of the best horror movies of the year in 2001. The script originally featured a reference to the boys wanting to go see the movie Alien, 1979, but Paxton changed it to The Warriors, 1979, to avoid the reference to his own work in the film Aliens from 1986. So in the film, the boys talk about going to the movies, and I think one of them wants to see Meatballs or something like that, and the other one's like, no, we're going to go see The Warriors. Originally, it was going to be, we're going to go see Alien, but he changed it at the last minute. There's a scene with a dolly zoom towards the end of the movie. Cinematographer Bill Butler also used this effect more famously in Jaws, 1975. So you remember that scene in Jaws where he's on the beach and the background looks like it's zooming out, but he's sort of like zooming in. There's a similar scene in that film, and it's interesting because when I was watching the movie, that was immediately what I thought of, was that scene in Jaws. So this movie also has one of those kinds of shots. The budget was $11 million, and the box office was approximately $17 million. The critical response for Frailty is that it currently holds a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. Roger Ebert, in particular, singled it out for praise, giving the film 4 out of 4 stars and declaring that, quote, Frailty is an extraordinary work, concealing in its depths not only unexpected story turns, but also implications hidden at first that make it even deeper and more sad. My thoughts on this film, Frailty, this was one that, like I said, I watched this when it first came out on video back in 2001. I was actually working at a little mom and pop video store when this came out, and we only had one copy of it, but it rented like steady. And I did get to have my go and rent it one night, and me and my partner at the time watched it. And I remember both of us being really freaked out by this movie. So I haven't seen this in over 20 years. I did just rewatch it the other night. Um, I don't think it's a movie I would rewatch a lot, like maybe, every every decade or so. It is pretty dark and disturbing, but the acting's really good. Like I said, Matthew McConaughey is really good in it. Um, and Bill Paxton, I mean, I think Bill Paxton is such a good actor, and he really shows his chops in this movie, along with also directing this movie. So, really showing his strength in filmmaking through this film, Frailty. And the mood of the film is so oppressive. And again, maybe that's why I can't picture myself watching this a lot, but it is a very, very dark movie. It's got a very heavy, kind of oppressive feel. The flashbacks, so the movie is like a series of flashbacks. So it's Matthew McConaughey talking to Powers Booth in the police station and in a car, and recounting all of these experiences as a child with his dad, Bill Paxton, kind of having these messages from God sent to him. And so it's a lot of these flashbacks. But it's done really well. Like, I think some movies, they do flashbacks and they overuse it. This one, there's the kind of the backstory, what happened, the history, and then you get to see the actual scene from their lives. And I thought it was done like really, really well. The pacing was really good, and clearly Bill Paxton knew, what he was doing with that pacing and the camera work and everything. I'm trying to think of like like things I didn't like about this movie, but I'm struggling to think of anything. Again, I think it's just because it's so dark and so oppressive that you definitely wouldn't want to watch this movie a lot. But I would say if you like murder mysteries, if you like kind of like forensic kind of shows and things like that, this is definitely going to be up your alley. This, like I said, is based on a true story, so somewhat, or a true case, I should say. And so if you like that kind of thing, like if you just finished watching the Netflix Unexplained series that came out last week, this would probably be right up your alley. It reminded me a lot of those kinds of shows, especially because of the flashbacks, because in those shows, they do a lot of that stuff. I don't remember much else about this movie. The young actors that played the boys in the movie were really good, especially the older son. I don't know his name right off the top of my head, but they were very convincing as the child, the child characters in this film. But yeah, I would have to say the standout for me was Bill Paxton. Like his acting and his, like, you just believed when he was talking, like, I'm getting these visions and these messages from God, and we have to go take care of business. And the murders themselves are pretty grisly. I think I read somewhere that there was a bit of backlash with one of them. I think it was the first murder at the beginning, where he was killing this supposed demon, and it was a lady who was a nurse, and he had tied her up and taken her into this makeshift basement. And I do believe, I'm pretty sure I read something that some of the like test audiences were uncomfortable with that, just because it was like Bill Paxton and his two sons standing over this woman. She was just like whimpering, and it was pretty disturbing, honestly. But yeah, some of those scenes were really intense and pretty grisly. I don't know if they were overly gory, but they were definitely pretty grisly. I think a lot of it was like implied, the swinging of the axe, but not actually seeing it go into somebody. So yeah, Frailty, very, very creepy movie. Still holds up all these years later. Highly recommend this if you can get your hands on this. This is the DVD from 2001. So this I guess I saw it on, maybe I saw it on DVD when it first came out on home video. That was right around the time I was just starting to get into DVDs, but I think I did watch this on VHS for the first time when it came out. This DVD is from Lionsgate. What else can I tell you about it? There's not a lot of information on the back. It is rated 14 in Canada. It's also a partnership with Sundance Channel as well. It does not list the... oh, it has a runtime of 99 minutes. Color horror from 2001. Some of the quotes on the back are 4 stars, a classic, superb in every aspect. That was the Los Angeles Daily News. A triumph, a genuinely creepy Southern Gothic thriller. Bill Paxton makes an astonishingly impressive directing debut, says Lou Luminick from the New York Post. So the bonus features on this are a trailer, anatomy of a scene courtesy of the Sundance Channel, the making of Frailty, deleted scenes, storyboards, director commentary, production commentary, writer commentary, still photo presentation. So this actually is pretty loaded for a DVD from the year 2001. You can see I got this for a couple bucks, but years ago this was valued at $9.99. Back before, I guess, the floor dropped out on the value of DVDs. But there's the inside, pretty plain Jane. You can see the word Frailty there. I don't know if this has had like a special edition or anything. You can leave comments below. This may have had like a Blu-ray. You can currently rent this film on Apple TV, Google Play, and Amazon Prime. I don't see this DVD around a lot anymore. I used to see it quite often, but I don't see it around a lot anymore, so I don't know how easy this is to find. But if you can get your hands on it, or if you want to rent it on one of those platforms I mentioned, as of the recording of this video, they're available in Canada. Like I said, I would recommend this to people who like creepy, slow pace, forensic murder kind of mystery, with a dash of horror. Great film. Frailty, highly recommend this one. That's my thoughts on Frailty. Let me know your thoughts on this film. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Was it just a little too dark for you? I'm sure some people thought that at the time. Leave your comments below. Consider giving me the thumbs up if you like this review. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do Cult Movie Tuesdays on Tuesdays, Fright Fridays on Fridays. I have a new series now on Mondays, which is called Mainstream Mondays, where I talk about more mainstream fare, less about cult movies and horror, and that type of thing. So this week, yesterday I did a review of Equalizer, the first Equalizer movie with Denzel Washington. Tomorrow I'm going to have an all-new thrifting haul video, which I know a lot of you like those ones. I did get a pretty good haul this time. And then on Friday, I'm going to be talking about Return of the Living Dead Part 2. So if that's one of your favorites, be sure to tune in on Friday for that. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I will see you at the video store or at the thrift store or just out and about somewhere. Hopefully not in a makeshift basement in the southern US with somebody holding an axe over us. But until next time, please take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.